Okay, I think it's worth it to say this one more time to wrap up the year. I'm not a millionaire yet, but I plan to be one day. And it's not because I want to be super wealthy. It's because I believe I'm going to need at least $1 million to spend on my body, my brain, or both, or some other reason like caring for a loved one makes it so that I'm no longer unable to work are no longer able to work. I say 1 million though, because inflation might make it 3 to 10 times that. So, whether you're on a financial independence journey, you just want to leave your 9 to 5, or you just want to protect your wealth in case you can no longer work, becoming a millionaire is a lot of people's goals. So I've been looking for how millionaires got that way and how they stay that way. Today, I want to share with you what I've found about how to avoid the biggest threats to building wealth for me. And you can see what would work for you too. So, welcome to the Fife Movement. I'm your host, Amanda Neely. This is the only movement that helps our generation create our unique feminine and entrepreneurial path to financial independence. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the bell so that you get notifications of future episodes. Now, a little recap here. If you go back a few episodes, we learned that those who become millionaires practice three essential items. They spend less than they earn, they save the rest, and they protect their wealth. The first two are talked a lot on about a lot just in general, but the third is rarely discussed, how to protect your wealth. So then I did a series about the four biggest threats to becoming a millionaire, right? The threats you need to protect your wealth from. The first one is about volatility. The second one is about fees. The third one is about taxes. And the fourth was yourself. And in particular, yourself being the more is better myth that keeps us spending now rather than being happy with enough now and enough later. So, if you've seen those episodes or listened to them, great. If you haven't, please go back and check them out. But today, I'm going to share how I practically have sought to overcome those threats to my wealth and actively protect it from those biggest threats. So, I invite you again to see if these strategies might work for you too. Again, this is how my take at this point in my life, what I've chosen, how it works for me so that if you find help from it, you can take what is helpful for you. So I'm going to start with number four, yourself, or in this case, myself. What I found tremendously helpful to protecting my wealth so that it can grow for me and I can hopefully eventually become a millionaire is setting up a system where the first of the month I save automatically. Before I can buy groceries or pay my mortgage, a set amount is being transferred out of my account on the first of the month. And that's been going on for 7 years straight. The amount has grown over those 7 years as my income has increased, but it's still the first of the month, and I don't even have to think about it. And that's how I stay out of my own way on my journey to becoming a millionaire. I make it so that I don't even have to think about it, and I'll still get there. I don't have any stress. That just transfers out of my account. Don't even have to think about it. And then the rest feels like enough because I've been living that way for 7 years. So that's the fourth threat we talked about, yourself, or in this case, myself. That's how I avoid that one. The next number three is taxes. Now, that amount on the first of the month, every month, goes into an account that grows tax deferred. It's not getting taxed every year as it grows. And I can use it tax free and penalty free anytime I want or need to, now and in the future. I don't even think the Internal Revenue Service knows that I have this account. And so I'm not getting taxed along the way as my account grows or when I access it. Big deal. Now, to avoid the second threat that we talked about, fees, number two, fees, I want to show you some of my real numbers. So let me go and share my screen. Share screen. If I can hit the right buttons here. Here we go. And share. So these are my real numbers. I want to look first at the projected one over here. So ignore the other line. These are the real numbers shown to me back in 2013. I told you 7 years I've been having an amount transferred out of my regular accounts into a special account. And yes, you guessed it, it's a whole life policy, specially designed as a bank on yourself designed policy. And that number when I first started was 400 a month. And you can see I've put in a little extra in 2019, so forth. But what you'll notice is that there's a pretty big fee right there at the beginning that or like cost of insurance. About $1,800, 1715 if we want to be exact. That come or no 1815, sorry, that came out of that initial contribution. But over time, if we do the math, which we're not going to do the math every year, that fee looks like it's shrinking, or the costs look like they're shrinking because they're being outweighed by the growth of the policy. And if I highlight these 9 years till 2022, it adds it up down here in the corner, $45,000 that I've put in, and my projected cash value, 46,000. So this is how you can see that the growth is outweighing the fees. And if we keep going down, you'll see it just gets more and more efficient the longer I have it, the longer the policy has to grow. The growth continues to outweigh those costs, and even more so over time. And you'll notice my death benefit also growing along the way as well, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah. So that's one side, the cost. While I'm up here, I also want to talk about the number one threat that I talked about, which was volatility. If we look at these same numbers, you'll notice they just continue going up. There's no down years. That's because it's in a safe place that's not impacted by the volatility of the stock market. You'll notice even over here on my actual, I didn't track all these numbers from the beginning of when I started because like I wasn't planning to do a YouTube channel. I thought these are my private numbers. I'd never be showing them to anybody, but here I am showing them to you. But what you'll notice here is that I actually am at a place where I have about $400 more than what I thought I'd have. And my death benefit is about $5,000, 4,500 more than what I thought it would be. That's because the numbers when they project them, often they are under promising and then they over deliver on them, which is very different than what you might expect from most financial professionals. They're going to try to wow you with what's happening. And I'm going to leave this up because there's also one more important thing that I want to share. So these numbers are here, but what's more is I've not only protected my wealth, I've also leveraged it so that I didn't have to go into debt when an emergency struck or when we wanted to take a nice vacation. I even leveraged my savings to purchase my home, and yet I still got all the same growth without interruption. In fact, I got a little extra growth than what I was expecting. And it's still tax-free. The growth is still on its way to outweighing the costs by year 9, according to my numbers, right? And I'm not going to lose a penny the next time we have a stock market crash. That to me, I've never found anything that does those things like this. Now, one thing Brandon told me I should for sure mention, this is not all that we're doing, right? It's not even close. But it is the foundation of what we do. This is the place where I'm protecting my wealth and I'm having the ability to leverage it when I need to. And that to me is worth a lot and helps me in the other ways that I'm trying to become a millionaire, which I'm sure I'll cover in future videos. Now I want to come back to you. So I've just shared with you how I avoid the four biggest threats toward my journey of becoming a millionaire. And I do it without interrupting the compounding of my money. Now let me turn the tables to you. How will you avoid the biggest threats to your wealth? What steps are you going to take today to protect it and move forward in helping it grow? And if you're open to it, I'd love to help you find those steps. Just reach out to me at amanda@fifemovement.com and say, you're ready for the next steps. You can even like put in the subject line, next steps, and then in the body, just put, I'm ready. Again, that email is amanda@fifemovement.com. If I get that email from you, I'll just respond with how we can walk together from that step. One final note to wrap up 2020. The next video you'll see from me, or episode you'll see from me, is in 2021. I'm going to tell you a joke that my dad used to tell all the time. My dad would say to people that he was working on his second million, and people would be totally surprised because he didn't look anything close to a millionaire. And they would often ask him, well, what did you do with the first million? Because it's like obvious he didn't have it, right? And he'd respond, well, I'm working on my second million because I gave up on the first. And people would kind of laugh and joke. And, it was one of my dad's favorite jokes to say. But my final question for the year, for you here today is, are you going to give up on your first million? Or will you protect it from its biggest threats and take steps toward guarding your wealth? Thanks for joining me and connecting with the Fife movement. As you go about your day today, remember, wealth is coming your way. Your quest is to prepare for using it well. For more tips on how to prepare, please be sure to subscribe, and to connect with the community, visit fifemovement.com. If my gift has helped you, please pay that gift forward by sharing this content with a friend. My gratitude in advance. To help this video be seen by more people, please hit that like button, and we invite your feedback in the comments as well. Any other threats I missed out on that I need to cover in future videos? What would you like to see in the new year? Let me know in the comments.